But first at 11, Georgia is in the national spotlight tonight over questions of election integrity. Good evening. I'm Sean Gables.
And I'm Rick Folbaum. Thank you so much for joining us. And Republicans, enraged over results, are demanding an investigation as the state insists the election was a success. Vice President-elect, or rather President-elect Joe Biden leads President Trump by nearly 13,000 votes, but the results are still not certified, and the statewide election audit starts tomorrow.
Today, 8 Republican lawmakers signed a letter urging Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to investigate fraud claims before certifying results. Meanwhile, Republican Doug Collins and Senators Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue calling for his firing and a recount.
CBS 46's Haley Mason is live at the state capitol with the latest tonight. Haley.
Rick, I've been in and out of the Secretary of State's office all evening long, and one thing they tell me, he is sticking by his comments that he's not resigning, and he's telling the lawmakers who are asking him to focus on their own races. Meanwhile, he's about to kick off a statewide audit, the first in state history, at the same time as his own party members are bringing unsubstantiated claims about election integrity. Georgia's Secretary of State dismissing calls for his resignation tonight from fellow Georgia Republicans disgruntled by results of the election so far. Despite a letter from both the House GOP delegation and U.S. Senate candidates Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue, Raffensperger's office tells me tonight he's standing by his written statement in which he wrote, "Let me start by saying that is not going to happen. The voters of Georgia hired me, and the voters will be the one to fire me." Meanwhile, Raffensperger's preparing to launch the first ever statewide election office of results Wednesday afternoon. Every county will review batches of paper ballots to ensure with 90% confidence the results are accurate.
Certainly we want to make sure that every election is full of only legal votes, and certainly we're going to make sure that's the case here.
This as some Republicans began to speak out about the refusal of the party to accept the election results.
It's for the best interest of the people of Cobb County that we have this transition in grace. And I hope that this message gets loud and clear to our national and our state leaders that this transition in grace is part of the election process.
Meanwhile, Cobb County Commission Chairman Mike Boyce, who lost his seat to Democrat Lisa Cupid, talked about conceding with grace.
I find it extraordinary that 4 years ago nobody complained about the results of the election, and yet 4 years later we have people who question the integrity of the voting process because they lost. That doesn't reflect well of leadership.
A lot of different opinions, all within the same party. One thing we do know, though, this audit will start Wednesday afternoon. It will run until Thursday. Counties have until 5 p.m. on Friday to certify votes in Georgia. Meanwhile, the Secretary of State plans to have a press conference tomorrow morning discussing the latest updates on this process before the audit commences. Reporting live outside the state capitol, Haley Mason, CBS 46 News.